Examples. Sugar Land Town Square. This is an 80,000 square foot city hall. Back up. Sugar Land Town Square is located at the intersection of Highway 6 and 59, a major intersection in the community. The city of Sugar Land is about 180 years old, or really, its impetus is 180 years old. What happened is, way back when, the 1820s, 1830s time frame, sugar cane was brought from Cuba and planted in the area. They went away, they came back, and they said, hey, that sugar cane's growing, there might be an opportunity here. Sugar business was founded, ultimately it became Imperial Sugar, ultimately became a company town, and in 1959, that company town incorporated. As things proceeded through the 60s and 70s, the original company town, the downtown was torn down. There wasn't any. You had residential areas, but you did not have a core. You had some office buildings here and there, but you had a residential community. You did not have a downtown to rebuild. Our history was gone. The iconic structure in the community as you drove down Highway 90A was a big building called the Chart House. Many people in the community called it the Pink Lady because it was a big pink building, and that's where they actually filtered the sugar, what's called sugar liquor, as it's processed through to a clear substance that's ultimately refined into the sugar that you can all buy. So this facility, when it was built with Town Square, the City Hall was moved there to help rekindle and make the downtown. Prior to this, the city, when I first started with the City Hall was in the industrial park. It's a 32-acre development, has over 500,000 square feet of Class A office space, over 250,000 square feet of retail. It has 167 residential units where it's actually located here over some of the retail. It has a little over a 1-acre plaza, and it also has a 300-room full-service hotel with a 60,000 square foot conference center. This is a picture of some of the retail streetscape that is in the community. This is a picture of the Sugar Land Marriott. One of the arguments you might hear, Sugar Land is definitely different than Amarillo, but the principles still apply. We had a difficulty recruiting a hotel. There really weren't any. We had a Holiday Inn Express and a Drury Inn, but the only two hotels. We couldn't attract a full-service hotel to come to the community until there was a public-private partnership. And that's not uncommon for full-service hotels even today, but no matter where they go without public participation. In this case, this was a $54 million project, including some parking and the conference center space. The city put $19.3 million in this project, and the private sector brought $54 million to the table. This project was, we signed a contract to move forward with construction, and then an interesting thing happened, September 11th. And everybody was worried about what was going to happen in the changing marketplace. Well, when it opened, a year or so later, about 18 months later, it was the best opening of any Marriott in the chain, and it has continued to receive high occupancy throughout. Our original projections on this were about $129 average daily rate. As of last year, that was well over $200 is what they were receiving, even with a high occupancy rate. So the project has been a success, but our approach was conservative, to ensure that if things did not occur as planned, that we knew that there was a buffer to make sure the project could be a success. I mentioned that plaza in front of City Hall. This is what the plaza looks like last New Year's Eve. About 8,000 to 9,000 people in downtown. It became the gathering point. It became the focal point. It became an icon for the community. Another view of that. Movies under the moon in Town Square. Pictures of Sugar Land Superstar. Now I've got something going on here. I don't think I've checked out on this equipment. All right. We use the stairs of City Hall to hold concerts. This is Sugar Land Superstar, where we had our version of American Idol. It became a gathering point, things that you could program like a public park and take advantage of bringing people to the area. What this brought to the area is this became the busiest night for the restaurants. People also, it's interesting. People would say, they could come up with all kinds of excuses. It'll never work because of the weather. You might hear that here. In Houston, they had this strange thing. They thought it was hot. People aren't going to sit outside. Guess what? People sat outside. We had concerts. This is actually the band called Sugar Land. I don't know. No, I don't know what's going on with the things. But anyway, I mentioned what impact public-private partnerships can have. This is a view of the tax rate in the city of Sugar Land from 1990 through 2010. The property tax rate was about 50 cents in 1990. It spiked up to about 54 cents, and then some things fell off, but it really started a precipitous drop-off at the time when the First Colony Mall opened. When the First Colony Mall opened, it brought sales taxes. Similar, one of the things that you experience here is 60% of the sales tax, I believe that's correct, comes from people who don't live in this community. As you create destination activity centers and retail places, and this is a regional draw, you are a regional center, it creates opportunity for people to come spend money in your community, which helps impact your property taxes. Similarly, you'll see another dip and continued discount or decrease as Sugar Land Town Square came in. We aided us in recruiting Minute Maid headquarters to the community. Minute Maid is the only headquarters of a division of Coca-Cola whose headquarters is outside Atlanta. What else did we see? Because of the economic development activities, we chose to plan our future, to say that it's important, it's indeed right and proper for the community to influence the direction that it grows. And because we took an active role, not a laissez-faire approach, an active role in our governance, we were able to grow the community, and you can see that the property tax values grew, doubled in fact, from $4.5 to $9.2 million. Sales taxes also grew from 1999 to 2009, from $20 million to over $40 million. Employment, we were able to recruit businesses to bring jobs. We nearly doubled the number of primary sector jobs in our community. And what's interesting about that is it's not just an average growth rate. The point that I would make with this slide is it's not just a trend that was happening in the area. We were able to capture more than our fair share. Fort Bend Colony was the second fastest growing county in the state of Texas, and yet we outpaced them by almost threefold. Houston was flat. Texas grew at 13%. We grew at 95% because of our active economic development efforts and the way we approach public-private partnerships. That was our public side of the experience. And the viewpoint we took there, we applied to the private side. When David was a mayor, he was giving a speech on water and wastewater in Waco. He came out of the convention center with the then mayor of the city of Waco and looked around and he saw the boarded up buildings, vacant streets, trash, streetlights that didn't work, Heritage Square that wasn't in a good state of repair, and asked the mayor what happened. The mayor told him in 1953, a tornado went through downtown Waco and killed a couple hundred people. It also decimated much of the property, and there started some of the flight in the area. Property taxes, or property values, continued to drop. In fact, the city repossessed a number of pieces of property downtown. Ultimately, what it led to, if you had gone to Waco or Baylor, as my wife did, and as an incoming freshman, you would hear, "Thou shalt not go west of I-35. You'll get robbed. It's not safe. You'll get mugged. Something nasty will happen to you." There's a funny thing about crimes against people. You have to have people to have crimes against. And there was really nobody downtown. The downtown occupancy rate or occupancy total was about 50 people. With the assets that we built, when we invested $80 million in downtown Waco in loft-over retail, warehouse rehabilitation, student housing, things like that, is now 600 in our assets. Those non-revenue producing assets where the city had land that they leased to us for $10 a year for 80 years. Now we pay $2 million in city taxes on that property. We also, in working with this, put a public improvement district. There was a TERS created. There was also the use of a merchant association to help address some of the issues and perceptions, to deal with some of the issues in the community that were prevalent about downtown. One of the things I'd like to point to your attention is this building. This is a rendering of what we envisioned the property to be. It actually precedes my joining the company. But the importance of this is what we planned. And that's the reality. That's a picture of the first LEED certified chamber in the United States. It's built in our project. This is a sketch of Heritage Quarters, which is our student housing project. And that's the reality. This is a rendering of loft-over retail, which, if you recall, I'm showing you the image around where the chamber building was. This is the other component of on the backside of where the chamber is. And it got built. We created, again, in that community, it's a different community. Similar. People look for places to gather. It brought people downtown, and now there's a vibrancy downtown. Baylor's actually bringing some of its programs into the area. We work with the city on bus routes and other things. Sure, there's Baylor University that you don't have that same presence in this community, but the point is, each community has a different profile, different assets, and you match the goals and objectives and the opportunities with those. A picture of Heritage Square as it is today. Previously, the fountain didn't work when this project started. Lights were not in good state of repair. The pergola was also not in good state of repair. This is a picture of the warehouse. This actually was not part of the project with the city. This is another important component. Our investment, our participation is not just about the public investment. We are also looking to continue to look for opportunities outside that. In this case, in Waco, we purchased this building prior to moving forward with the project. It is a warehouse. It actually has this area, which was 3 floors, was given a haircut by the tornado. It now looks like this. There's nymphs, gracianos, diamondbacks, there's crickets. There is 100,000 square feet of office and retail and restaurants. We care about what happens and what it looks like. We maintain the character of the community. Unlike Sugarland, where a lot of the character had already been destroyed, here was an opportunity for us to maintain it. In the warehouse here, we maintained the original architecture. How can we work that into some of the retail environment?